day, everyone. Our topic for today would be auditing, marketing, and sales. Marketing and sales responsibilities are sometimes viewed as a company's lifeblood, bringing in money. Internal auditors and cross-functional teams must be provided with the proper competence and tools to guarantee that these highly dynamic processes are well controlled, since marketing and sales are at the heart of every corporation. A marketing and sales audit enables the company to ensure risk is managed and governance of the strategic unit is in line with best practice. To define the marketing and sales audit universe, the key functions, systems, or activities are further subdivided between marketing and sales and after-sales support. Marketing and sales compose of the functions product development, market research, promotion and advertising, pricing and discount policies, sales management, sales performance and monitoring, distributors, relationship with parent company, agents, and order processing. While after-sales support compose of warranty arrangements, maintenance and servicing, and spare parts and supply.
Staying competitive in the business world is critical for any company, especially if it wishes to grow and expand rather than simply earn a decent profit from time to time. To be competitive, a company must always be one step ahead of the game in areas such as marketing, personnel management, and production management. Needless to say, product development is another area where businesses, particularly those in manufacturing, should focus if they want to stay ahead of the competition and always have something new and fresh to offer their market. When we say product development, we are likely to immediately think about new product development, which is actually true. However, that is not just the case. Product development is simply put the creation of new products or products with new features or specifications that offer added or entirely new benefits to end users. It may involve the formulation of an entirely new product that will meet the demands of a new market niche or satisfy newly defined wants or needs of the target market. Or it can also be the modification of an already existing product. But of course, product development is not only limited to the design and creation of the products alone. It also covers the marketing of the new products that have been developed. This means that product development is such a broad field. It covers the whole process, from coming up with an idea of a new product or product innovation, putting it through the production process, and getting the finished new product to the market. Unfortunately, it cannot be said that product development is simple or straightforward. Where product developments are justified, appropriate, realistic, and suitable, coordinated plans will be required to support the development process and bring the product to the market on time and at the right price. To further explain, let me discuss the risk and control issues associated with product development. First is we have the market risk. This kind of risk may derive from low customer acceptance, which may lead to the rejection of the product meeting the customer's requirements, or competitors' risks, which means the outperformance by a competitor. A product innovation may also not attract enough customers. It may even fail requirements for quality or delivery. And take note that product development projects are intrinsically different and require a personalized planning and design process. Doing so can cause organizations to develop a tunnel vision towards product development that does not fit changing customer needs. Ultimately, it will inhibit their ability to identify other opportunities for greater innovative techniques. Constantly modifying the development plan to fit the needs of the customers as it relates to market demands will push managers to create unique designs and competitive features that will make their product more attractive than other competitors. Other than that, extensive, adequate, and appropriate testing of new or modified products shall ensure that the product is thoroughly tested throughout the development and subject to appropriate customer testing prior to launch. All product development must be fully assessed in relation to the potential market, estimated production costs, and selling price. Additionally, products that are complicated to operate can quickly become unpopular in the market. Such risk can cause slump in sales. Hence, managers need to remind their teams to develop products that are sophisticated yet simple to use. The team can work on identifying and eliminating features that are irrelevant, and it is important to undergo this process through customer's perspective. Once the omission process is completed, then the team would be left with the most relevant ones to include and work with. The second one is the technical risk. Undeniably, there are disruptive new technologies that could drag down demand or render the product obsolete. This risk is an internal one and could be divided into subcategories such as designing the product and manufacturing technology. The most important concern of this risk is the optimal exploitation and allocation of the available resources of the company. Thus, meeting the performance requirements as well as safety after the development process is a key factor. Further, technical risk assessment should cover the feasibility of the product, including building blocks, how the product building blocks integrate among themselves, how the product integrates with the operating environment, ability to manufacture the product cost effectively, and the feasibility of new manufacturing technologies. A central theme in any technical risk assessment, therefore, is that new product development outcomes depend on the maturity of the underlying hardware, software, and integrated system of a company. The third one is the financial risks that are related to the budget, exchange rates, inflation, etc. It is possible that the new product that a company have developed will not be able to generate enough demand at a price that will bring profit for the business. The cost of production as well as the cost of marketing the product may not be covered by the selling price. Under the assumption that companies will get better results if they throw more resources into the project, they will end up spending more than they should have. Thus, costs become unreasonably high. This suggests that managers must agree on an overall budget for the various parts of the project and make sure the teams stay within the limits. Doing this will ensure that all the actual development costs are correctly identified and monitored against the established budgets. Another risk associated with product development is commercial risk. Whether the product and the project in extent are considered financially feasible to be developed by the firm falls under this risk category. The key risk here is the possibility of exceeding important resource constraints, such as the budget of the project, which needs to be reduced and controlled through budgeting and forecasting methods. The next one is the organizational risk. This is an internal occurrence which includes the communication among different parties for achieving the acceptance and the realization of the idea of the new product. Also, the examination of the availability of the resources is essential. Managers should also consider to choose the right people to be in the product development team. The people tasked with developing the new product must have all the relevant skills and knowledge, especially regarding the technical aspects that will be required in developing the product. This suggests that the central focus or control objective of product development is on teamwork, with the emphasis on ensuring that the activities of all afflicted functions such as production, advertising, quality control, and sales team are coordinated in order to achieve the defined objectives, while at the same time ensuring that the design assessment and product specification processes are adequate and address matters of quality and performance. Thus, emphasis on the importance of good communication is a great step towards the achievement of the defined and authorized strategic business objectives. Another risk is the schedule risk. Certain procedures for a specific project should be established regarding the number of operations, which is referring to the milestones, the way tasks are dependent with each other, production planning, and lead times. It is absolutely necessary for the management to establish, authorize, and implement documented procedures for the development and evolution of all product ranges to ensure that product lines do not become prematurely obsolete. The next one is the resource risk. For a project to be finished, such as the development of a new product and its appearance to the market, the optimal availability and usage of resources is important. Supplies, facilities, labor, and equipment are some of the resources that are needed the most and should not be in shortage. Otherwise, the development of the product may delay. Thus, all the resources required to undertake the development should be accurately identified, costed, justified, and authorized to avoid major risks, such as major delays or other related risks. Having a zero tolerance of failure can have a damaging effect to a product development project. By communicating the expectations of success on the first attempt of development work, project teams are more likely to choose the least risky solutions. These solutions may not be of much relevance to the customers and raise risks of having an unattractive product in the market. Early feedback and early testing of solutions with more experiments would potentially mean more failures since more development work is needed. However, this can be deemed positive since teams can identify the good options from the bad ones. Doing this earlier on is encouraged rather than later when more resources have been invested and the cost of backing out is higher. Moreover, earlier testing may ensure that all significant project variations or problems are promptly reported to the management for corrective action. In conclusion, the assumptions made by product development managers can bring about various risk issues associated with product development. Understanding how to avoid delays and high costs by careful planning of internal controls about risks that may arise, which includes the smaller batch size, optimum utilization of resources, unique differences, and focus on a particular project at a time can help reduce risks associated with product development. Furthermore, allowing a certain tolerance for failure in the early stages can produce better options that will reduce potential future losses. And to ensure that the overall business objectives are achieved, actual sales of new products must be adequately monitored by managers.
As part of conducting a marketing audit, you should also research your customers and prospects to understand why they buy from your organization and perhaps why people do not buy. It is vital to have an accurate and up to date understanding of consumer and market expectations in order to keep the marketing strategy of the firm relevantly focused. Market research techniques can give the required marketing knowledge to reinforce or impact a marketing strategy when it is justified. In this part, we look at the commercial consequences of market research and how to make sure that such techniques are used successfully and efficiently. Here are the control objectives and risk and control issues associated with market research. The first risk is consumer and competitor risk. This involves maintaining an accurate and up to date awareness of market trends, customer needs, and competitor activities. It is critical that you first determine or clearly identify your primary market. If you don't know who your customers are, how will you be able to assess whether you are meeting their needs? So, the organization needs to ensure that they remain aware of the needs of their target customers and is kept informed about competitor products and activities. Since success depends on being able to meet customers' needs and desires, you must know who your customers are, what they want, where they live, and what they can afford. Knowing who your competitors are and what they have to offer may help you stand out with your own products, services, and marketing. It will allow you to set competitive rates and respond to competitor marketing campaigns with your own initiatives. The second risk is product development and promotional activities risk. This involves correlating market research findings with product development, promotional and sales activities, and assessing promotional activities targeted to offer value for money. The organization needs to ensure that all product development, marketing, and sales activities are based on accurate determinations of the prevailing economic market and customer trends, and to ensure that promotional and advertising activities are appropriately targeted as a means to ensure value for money and effectiveness. The marketplace is never static. It is dynamic and ever changing, and product demand is always evolving as requirements, wants, and technology evolve. As a result, businesses must constantly examine their current product range and search for methods to keep it current and in line with customer demands. Advertising that is effective reaches out to potential consumers and tells them about your products or services. The third risk is accuracy and reliability risk. This involves market research activities that are accurately costed and justified as being worthwhile and authorized, and management assures that market research data is accurate and reliable. The organization needs to maintain a database of market intelligence relevant to the operating sector to support effective decision making. Missing the mark on accurate market research can have a tremendous impact on organizations. Marketers should continuously be looking for new sources of marketing information about their company and industry in order to keep track of what's going on in the industry. Marketing research meet the requirement for marketers to make faster, yet more accurate decisions. The fourth risk is product differentiation and criteria risk. This involves identifying potential new markets or opportunities to differentiate their products and products continuing to match the required performance, quality, and price criteria. Ideally, a product differentiation strategy should demonstrate that the product can do everything the competing choices can, but with an additional benefit that is exclusive to that product. Price can be used to differentiate a product. Products can be differentiated based on their reliability and durability. If successful, product differentiation can create a competitive advantage for the product seller and ultimately build brand awareness. The last risk is complaints and market test risk. This involves new and prototype products or services realistically market tested prior to full launch and how the results are utilized. The control objective for this is to ensure that customer complaints and product returns are appropriately analyzed as the basis for taking corrective action. Feedback is essential to the process of control. Testing products prior to full launch will determine the success of their plan, organization, and lead. This is to ensure that if ever there would be complaints regarding the product, they would be able to assess it and take action to fix it.
Now, let's proceed to the promotion and advertising. Setting the appropriate tone and approach for advertising in promotion can be seen as a crucial requirement. Big budgets are not necessarily effective in generating sales. So, ensuring that the budget is in line with promotional and marketing objective is a key factor. In determining advertising budgets, several factors needs to be considered like marketing goals, wherein companies need to align advertising budgets with their overall marketing goals. Number 2, target audience, understanding target audience profile. Number 3, type of product, since the type of product also determines the type of promotion to use. Number 4, selected media types and their frequency. Apart from affecting the effectiveness of the delivery of advertising message, media selection also affects cost. And number 5 is the expected profit and product cycle. The following are the key objective and key issues in promotion and advertising. So, first, we have to address the questions in the risk and control issues related in order to achieve its control objectives. Objective 1 is the following, and the key issue is: has a planned approach to advertising and promotion been agreed, authorized, and implemented? In advertising, we have to ensure that the planned approach and budgets are approved and in consultation with the key stakeholders and marketing managers. If these are followed, then there is a successful beginning for a product. Objective 2 is this, and the key issue is: how does management ensure that promotional activities are adequately defined, authorized, proficiently conducted, and adequately resourced? In determining which promotional activities to implement, organizational requirements must be considered that could impact on the influence which activities are chosen. This includes the organizational overall goals and objectives, quality assurance, legal requirements, confidentiality, ethical considerations, and pricing and discounts policies. Furthermore, there is a need to assess the effectiveness of the promotional planning process and analyze the costs and timelines to evaluate the benefits of promotional activities. The key issues involved in the Objective 3 is: how does management verify that the organization is paying only for actual advertising and promotional activities? To achieve its objective, the management should ensure that when making payment, there should be a receipt that shows the details about the payment. The details should include the amount spent, the reason they are billed, the campaigns that the management spent money, and the results that the advertisement they got. The Objective 4 is the following, and the key issue is the engagement of external advertising agencies, creative consultants, and marketing companies subject to adequate assessment, justification, and authorization. In a business, it is important to evaluate advertising agencies carefully. Outsourcing to an external agency allows marketers to obtain highly specialized strategic research and planning skills. However, it is expensive and therefore must be budgeted accurately and must be managed with care and accountability. For Objective 5, the key issues in related are budgets established and is actual expenditure monitored against budget, and how does management ensure that advertising and promotional expenditure is adequately targeted, budgeted, effectively used, and fully accounted for? Good financial management systems and processes for tracking resource utilization are essential. All marketing expenses and advertising budgets should be reviewed on a quarterly basis to reflect the organization's spending. To be more accurately and effectively track advertisement spending, organization can consider using an accounting or financial tool that the whole marketing team can access, which makes it easier for employees to invoice expenses and have senior management oversee and approve them. Objective 6 key issue involves are what mechanisms prevent expenditures on unauthorized advertising and promotional schemes, and what measures ensure that all advertising and promotional activities are lawful, accurate, and project a positive corporate image. Under law, claims in advertisement must be truthful, cannot be deceptive or unfair, and must be evidence-based. If a company uses endorsement in marketing, it should meet the standards of FTC's Acts and FTC's guidelines concerning use of endorsement and testimonials in advertising. If a company resorts to lawful advertisement, this can be used to build the business reputation to project a positive corporate image. Seventh objective key issue is what precautions prevent unauthorized access to or leakage of advertising and promotional plans. Precautionary measures should be implemented like training your employees because employee education can lower potential of data theft. Securing and disposing sensitive information, using strong password, control physical access to your business computers, and others. Objective 8 are the following, and the key issue is what measures ensure that sales, marketing, and promotional staff are well informed about the products and present a positive corporate image. Training employees is important since this involves training programs that enable employees to learn precise skills or gain knowledge to improve jobs performance to project positive image. Ninth objective key issue is are all sponsorship deals subject to a written agreement and are they monitored to confirm that all prescribed obligations have been satisfactorily discharged? Finally, the 10th objective is to ensure that all promotional and advertising activities are reviewed and appropriately amended on an ongoing basis.
Pricing and discount policies. Discount pricing is a type of a promotional pricing strategy where the original price for a product or service is reduced with the aim of increasing traffic, moving inventory, and driving sales. People are drawn to lower prices because consumers love the feeling as if they're scoring a good deal. When an organization builds up its pricing policy, it should guarantee that all the internal and external economic and market-related components have been duly considered and joined. Something else, there's the danger that the item or benefit will come up short within the genuine world. This segment investigates the related accounting, marketplace, and trade issues strategy. There are several control objectives for pricing and discount policies such as 1. To ensure that pricing and discount structures are authorized and documented. Prices should be in accordance with what the law says, especially that some products have suggested retail price or SRP. Also, it needs to be recorded for business documentation and finance monitoring. 2. To ensure that pricing levels are competitive, profitable, and adequately cover the underlying costs. Every business is established to create and make profit. Therefore, before making prices for product, costs for raw materials, labors, efforts, and even worthiness of a product must be taken into considerations. 3. To ensure that an awareness of market trends, competitor pricing, and others is maintained to enable the appropriate commercial response. Prices should be not so low and not so high compared to competitors. Prices must also be in accordance with what market trends. 4. To ensure that authorized prices and discounts are correctly applied to invoices. Not all products are subject into the same pricing and discounts as well, so it is important to assure a product's pricing and qualities before giving discounts. 5. To ensure that changes to prices and discounts are authorized and correctly implemented. Changes in price occurs considering the rule of demand and supply. 6. To ensure that accurate and reliable records of costs are maintained in support and determining the pricing policy. Product costs are very helpful in deciding the possible prices for the product. 7. to provide adequate costing information as a means of identifying the potential costs for savings, etc. Providing adequate costs for her products help in lessening the possible cost in making a product. 8. To ensure that the effects of taxation and duty are taken in account when setting prices. Every business is subject to tax. Therefore, before setting prices, make sure that once taxes will be deducted, there will still be profit from the products. 9. To ensure that, when applicable, geographic differentials and the effect of cyclical sales patterns are taken into account when determining variation for the pricing policy. The business location shall be taken into consideration, especially that prices of raw materials varies as well depending on its location. 10. To ensure that pricing structures accord with the relevant distributor, agent, and retail chain and are competitive at each stage. Just like the other control objectives, people related to the distribution of products are also important in deciding the price. 11. To ensure that government, national, and international pricing restrictions are taken into account when applicable. SRP is important in pricing. Aside from the product cost, suggested prices in accordance with the law should be considered. In order to achieve control objectives for pricing and discount policies, these are the risk and control issues for pricing and discount policies. The key issues are: 1. Have documented pricing and discount policies been authorized and implemented, and are they biased on established profit margins? 2. What are the steps taken to ensure that prices remain competitive, profitable, and sustainable? 3. How does management assure that the correct prices and discounts are always applied to invoices, and what mechanisms are in place to detect and report any unauthorized variations? 4. How does management confirm that product costing information is accurate, complete, and reliable as the basis for determining prices? 5. What measures ensure that changes to prices and discount structures are justified, authorized, and correctly applied? 6. Does management take into account the effects of taxation such as VAT or sales tax, duty, and any prevailing prices constraints when determining pricing levels?
Sales management. Management should strive to achieve a system of internal controls using both manual and program procedures to minimize the chance of error or fraud. Unfortunately, the existence of good internal controls is not necessarily related to financial success in terms of a company's ability to make money. Internal controls do not ensure high sales and profits. However, effective and efficient internal controls may relieve managers of valuable time that might otherwise be spent on accounting or operational problems, thus making it possible for them to devote more attention to revenue growth and cost reduction. The following are the risk and control issues that summed up related with sales management: ineffective strategies of allocation of workloads, inaccurate taking orders, lack of strategy in confirming accuracy and validity of sales, staff expenses, commissions, and bonuses. Second is the staff's our lack of training and knowledge about company's products, knowledge in confirming orders, and resolving customer complaints. Third is the customer data is inaccurately maintained and acceptance of unsuitable customers, ineffectiveness of sales activities, and actual cost associated with maintaining sales force. So first are the ineffective strategies of allocation of workloads, inaccurate taking orders, lack of strategy in confirming accuracy and validity of sales staff expenses, commissions, and bonuses. To address these risks and strategies or mechanisms, it should be ensured that realistic sales strategies and quotas are developed, authorized, implemented, and monitored. It should be ensured that accurate and up-to-date customer and sales activity data is obtained and maintained in support of sales activities and reporting. Sales staffs are adequately managed to maximize their performance and attain the defined sales quotas, and workable sales territories are established, and sales staffs operate within the defined and authorized company policies. Number two, staffs are lack of training and knowledge about company's products, knowledge in confirming orders, and resolving customer complaints. It should be ensured that adequately and appropriately trained sales staffs are provided with knowledge about policies and about products. Moreover, undergoing pre-training, seminars, and team building activities would help to their work. Number three is the ineffectiveness of sales activities and actual cost associated with maintaining sales force. It should ensure that sales staff expenses, commissions, and bonuses are valid, correctly calculated, and authorized, and check the costs associated with maintaining sales force are accurately identified, authorized, accounted, and monitored against performance.
Let us go on with sales performance and monitoring. So let us first define sales performance. It is simple to understand because from the word itself, it is a measurement of how well a salesperson or sales team is doing their job. It includes business to business interaction as well as sales to the general public. And it goes with the saying that sales is the backbone of nearly every organization. While practically every business has a sales component, organizations that prioritize and maximize sales performance are the ones that succeed. For with a grim reality for many sales departments suffers because of unfocused and unsure of how to prioritize their leads or unable to enunciate it, which has a potential to generate the highest revenue. That is why monitoring is important. Monitoring sales performance enables everyone on the sales team to identify gaining schemes and also recognize those approaches that might not be effective. Lastly, in order to give management with up-to-date and reliable data to support their decision making, the actual performance of the sales force will require accurate continuing monitoring against the expected targets. In regard to the performance requirements, it will also be required to assess if an appropriate and suitably trained sales force is provided and maintained. Now, for the next slide, here are the risk and control issues for sales performance and monitoring. In order to resolve this, let us address some of the control objectives for sales performance and monitoring. Starting with letter A, let's out that being too ambitious when it comes to sales forecast should be avoided. The forecast should be attainable, the same goes with letter B, but make sure that it is supervised. Next is to be aggressive. The concerns should be dealt with for a better outcome. Organizations should also satisfy their marketing and performance objectives because it is set for a reason. The staffs are intended to boost the standing of the company, and that is what letters E and F are intended for. For the last two control objectives, it implies that justification and excellence should be fulfilled.
Next are the distributors. External distributors may provide a competitive, strategic, or economic advantage to a company. Using an existing external distribution infrastructure, for example, eliminates the significant expenditures of developing an internal distribution system. We analyzed significant internal and customer-related challenges in this part, with the overarching goal of finding the most advantageous, efficient, and cost-effective distribution option. The following are the risk and control issues that summed up related with distributors. First, not assessed benefits of indirect versus direct sales organizations.
undefined and unauthorized prices for the organization's products being agreed, steps are not taken to ensure that invoices for goods supplied to distributors are promptly and fully paid, and fees or commissions due to distributors are inaccurately calculated and authorized. Second, undetermined management the competitive or strategic advantage of entering into a distributed sales arrangement, not established geographic distribution areas, and conflicts with existing distributors and direct sales activities. Third is not assess proficiency of potential and current distributors, the financial stability and suitability of distributors, inadequately assessed and authorized all distribution arrangements and subject to a suitable legal agreement. Distributors are insufficiently skilled to promote, and distributors' storage facilities are inadequate and unsecure. So, first to address risk is the not assessed benefits of indirect versus direct sales organizations. Undefined and unauthorized prices for the organization's products being agreed, steps are not taken to ensure that invoices for goods supplied to distributors are promptly and fully paid, and fees or commissions due to distributors are inaccurately calculated and authorized. It should check and assure that stocks of company products held by distributors are fully accounted for, verified, and correctly invoiced, and any settlements due from distributors are correctly accounted for. Second, undetermined management the competitive or strategic advantages of entering into a distributed sales arrangement, not established geographic distribution areas, and conflicts with existing distributors and direct sales activities. It should be ensured that the use of distributors will offers the organization competitive or strategic advantage, and that territories and geographic operational areas are clearly defined so that there is no conflict with other distributors or with company direct selling operations. Third is the not assessed proficiency of potential and current distributors. The financial stability and suitability of distributors, inadequately assessed and authorized all distribution arrangements, and subject to a suitable legal agreement. Distributors are insufficiently skilled to promote, and distributors' storage facilities are inadequate and unsecure. It should be ensured that external distributors are appropriately qualified, suitably resourced, financially stable, that will provide a cost-effective, efficient service, project a positive image of the company, and not subject to conflicts of interest with either their own or a competitor's product.
Moving on, we'll be talking about the interconnections between internal audit and the relationship with the parent company. So for the definition of terms, I have identified here two terms. First would be marketing and sales standpoint, and second would be satellite operation. So marketing and sales standpoint determines the efficacy of the relationship established between the parent company and any overseas operation. So this overseas operation is also known as satellite operation, wherein it is a small office or branch office in a different location from a company or government agency's main office. So not only government agencies, but even organizations, be it public or private. Second, a satellite operation. So this satellite operation may operate with some degree of autonomy, but is not considered as a separate legal entity or subsidiary of the parent company. This structure could open up a foreign parent company to tax liability based on the location of the satellite operation. Not only tax liability, but even legal liabilities. Okay, so let's now move on to the risk and control issues and objectives associated with the relationship with the parent company. So the risk and control issues associated with the relationship with the parent company could be summarized in the following. First would be the establishment and operation of overseas and satellite activities are adequately assessed. So are they really adequately assessed by the management? Second would be the financial and funding arrangements made for overseas or satellite operations to legally optimize the taxation advantages for the parent company. Third would be the parent organization adequately monitors all subsidiaries, overseas and satellite operations for their effectiveness, performance, control, and stability. And lastly is to whether local legislation and regulations are fully complied with. So the first bullet talks about satisfactory assessment and how does the management confirm that all the relevant fiscal, legal, and operational factors have been satisfactorily assessed and addressed, and how do the management maintain an accurate awareness of all the relevant factors. So as mentioned a while back, factors such as legal, fiscal, and whatnot. So these factors that could, not only factors, but note that these are factors that could affect the subsidiary operation. So this suggests that establishments and operation of overseas and satellite activities should be adequately assessed in order to optimize the fiscal, legal, and operational factors. Furthermore, financial and funding arrangements made for overseas or satellite operations legally optimize the taxation advantages for the parent company. So this is not tax evasion, but rather this is to optimize the taxation advantages for the parent company. Next would be on the optimization of activities. So another risk arises from when the management ensures that the establishment and operation of subsidiary activities is optimized for the benefit of the parent company and supports the achievement of business objectives. So to ensure this, control objectives such as financial and funding arrangements are made. So management must make sure that these financial and funding arrangements are legally authorized. Next would be on the effectivity of managers. So, of course, who would want a non-effective manager? So, in definition, effective is producing the intended or expected results, while efficient is performing the best results in the least amount of time and effort. So, this issue arises when the management needs to identify on the steps the management takes to ensure that local managers and staff are of the appropriate caliber and are capable of effectively handling the relevant operations. So are they really capable of working? So in here, the parent organization adequately monitors all subsidiary, overseas, and satellite operations for their effectiveness, performance, control, and stability. They must also make sure that a trustworthy local management are engaged in order to sustain operations and achieve a strategic business objectives. So, the parent organization then provides sufficient and appropriate support to the satellite company for the resources needed to attain this aforementioned objective. Lastly would be about the legislations and regulations. Mechanisms should be made and planned beforehand to ensure that all the relevant and prevailing legislation and regulations are fully complied with by the management. So the management then must ensure that local legislation and regulations are fully complied with. The most prevalent example are the regulations regarding taxation policies wherein the parent must be aware of the prevailing taxation policies in the area of the satellite company such as the minimum wage. So the management maintains an accurate awareness of all the relevant fiscal, legal, and political factors which could affect overseas and satellite operations such as the basis for effective decision making. So this is also made to protect and safeguard companies' assets and investments in subsidiary, overseas, and satellite operations.
Let us now discuss the relationship between internal audits and the agents. To begin, let us know first who the agents are. An agent is an intermediary who acts on behalf of a service principal. He is authorized to make agreements between customers and the principal or entity. An agent does not take title to services, but instead delivers the rights to customers. If there are significant commercial benefits to engaging external agents to promote the company's products and services, The organization must guarantee that such connections are only formed with financially stable, reliable, adequately experienced, and adequately resourced entities. The risk and control issues associated with agents are summed up to the following. First, the competitive and strategic advantages of getting into an agency arrangement were indeterminable to management. Second, the risk of assessing and qualifying agents. Third, the responsibility for advertising and promotion is not clearly defined, and an appropriate budget is not authorized and established. Fourth, all fees to agents are not accurately calculated and authorized. And lastly, management legislation and regulations have not complied. The first risk is about the determination of advantages by the management, whether it is competitive or strategic. When you say competitive advantages, these are the factors that allow a company to produce goods or services better or more cheaply than its competitors. These factors allow the productive entity to generate more sales or superior margins compared to its market rivals, or in other words, it is the ability of an organization to outcompete in a market. On the other hand, strategic advantages is the ability of an organization to outcompete more generally, including the returns to stakeholders, such as investors, employees, and communities. The control objectives for this risk are the determination of organization's purpose or goals and knowing advantages of having an agent in a company to ensure that the use of agents offers the organization either competitive or strategic advantage. An example of this is access to new or overseas markets. When an organization has made a decision to enter an overseas market, there are a variety of options open to it. These options vary with cost, risk, and the degree of control that can be exercised over them. The simplest form of entry strategy is exporting using either a direct or indirect method such as an agent. Next would be the second risk, which talks about the assessment and qualification for agents, which include financial stability, monitoring the performance, and assessing the skills of an agent to promote the organization's products. Moreover, it also includes the establishment areas of operation, wherein the management has to ensure that there are no conflicts with existing agents. The control objective for this risk is the establishment of adequate assessment, justification, and authorization of engagement of agents to ensure that external agents are appropriately qualified, suitably resourced, financially stable, and provide a cost-effective and efficient service, and to ensure that the customer's needs are best served by the agency arrangement. The third risk states the unclearly defined responsibility for related costs such as advertising and promotion, and an unauthorized budget for this. This suggests authorization which must be established to ensure that the responsibility for related costs of company products is clearly defined and the budgets are authorized. Moving on, the fourth risk talks about the inaccurately calculated and unauthorized payments to external agents. To control this risk, the completeness of records and the validity for each transaction must be ensured and observed. The completeness of records ensures that all payments are appropriately recorded, which may result in the accurate calculation. Lastly, the management might fail to comply with general legislations and regulations. To mitigate this risk, compliance must be ensured to ascertain that all agents and agency arrangements, legislation, and regulations are fully complied.
Moving on, let us now tackle the relationship between internal audit and order processing. Order processing is a crucial component of marketing and sales management auditing. It is the process that flows from the placement of an order until it is delivered. It is a vital part since dependability and precision derived from this process leads to customer satisfaction. Order processing can be fulfilled in numerous ways, regardless of how orders are obtained or to whom they are delivered. Management must ensure that they are appropriately accounted for and handled. Risk and control issues accompanied by control objectives are provided for this process to be effective as possible. The risks and control issues associated with order processing are identified as follows. The first risk refers to the possibility of orders not being accommodated correctly and entirely. This risk calls for the proper accounting of orders. All order information must be thoroughly recognized and accounted for in a timely and correct manner, as all of the obtained data will be crucial in the future procedure. Furthermore, properly accounting for this might result in a smooth flow of the process, from the creation of the orders to the delivery of the goods to the final client. Another risk refers to customers' ability to meet their obligations to the company. This risk necessitates an evaluation of the customers to establish an appropriate provision of credit for each of them, because as much as it is beneficial for the organization to generate more orders, it must also be in the firm's interest to ensure that customers are suitable and creditworthy. To prevent the incurrence of losses, they must evaluate and carefully appraise each customer's creditworthiness. They may establish an adequate credit limit for each customer to ensure that payments are received on time together with accounts of customers promptly followed up. The third risk is the accurate accounting of invoices and assurance that all orders are acknowledged and efficiently fulfilled. This risk suggests that all orders must be fulfilled, delivered, and confirmed as received as early as possible. It is also essential to consider how transaction will end for both parties. Delivery and other requirements must be addressed entirely and met as planned. Invoices must be raised against all fulfilled orders and recorded in clients' accounts and organization system and must be secured in all dimensions. Finally, there is the risk of failing to comply with appropriate legislation and regulations. The mitigation of this risk starts with assuring compliance to the current laws and prevailing regulations. May it be identified inside or outside the company policies. The processing of the orders under this process shall be following the organization's policies as it promotes uniformity in all the activities.
Let us now discuss the relation between internal audit and customer after-sales support. After-sales support is any service provided to a customer after the product or service has already been purchased. Companies use after-sales support as a business strategy as it typically leads to higher customer satisfaction, brand loyalty, and even word-of-mouth marketing. Examples of after-sales support include warranty arrangements, maintenance and servicing, and spare parts and supply. Let us first discuss the risk and control objectives associated with warranties. Warranty is an arrangement wherein the manufacturer agrees to repair and replace any part of the product sold to the buyer that is proven to be defective in material or workmanship free of charge. The risk and control issues associated with warranty arrangements are summed up to the following. Warranties are not defined, documented, and authorized. Warranty requests are not valid and eligible. Warranty legislation and regulations are not complied. The underlying causes of warranty problems are neither identified nor monitored. The first risk talks about the likelihood that warranty arrangements will not be authorized, documented, or notified to eligible customers in a timely manner. This suggests that authorization must be established to ensure that all products are covered by the warranty arrangement and the contents of the warranty arrangements are relayed to customers. The second risk states that invalid customers might claim warranty service or eligible customers might request warranty after the term has already expired. When we say invalid customers, these are those who do not purchase products from the business and thus they are not qualified for any warranty service. The control objectives for these risks are accurate presentation, existence of transactions, and validity of requests. Management must ensure that warranty liabilities are recorded and appropriately presented in their records to confirm requests and claims when they arise. This is required to ensure that company incurs warranty fees exclusively for its own customers and not for third parties. Furthermore, to establish the validity of the warranty request, management must check its own records or request the receipt of the product. By verifying the validity of requests, businesses can prevent providing warranty services to people who are not eligible and to products that have reached the end of its warranty period. When products are given after sales support beyond warranty period, it is appropriate to collect charges. For example, if the warranty only covers the first year following the sale, the consumer must pay for any future after-sales support beyond that period. Moving on, the third control issue suggests non-compliance with all current consumer and general legislation and regulations. To mitigate this risk, compliance must be ensured to ascertain that all consumer and warranty legislation and regulations are fully complied. For the last one, management might fail to identify the root causes of service problems needed to perform corrective action. To mitigate this risk, the management must have an effective error handling to make sure that the root causes of warranty issues are identified, tracked, and notified to the affected department. This is also important in ensuring that problems caused by external causes, for example, the delivery of poor components, are detected and followed up with suppliers and contractors in a timely manner. Okay, we are now done with warranties. Let us now proceed to maintenance and servicing. I know that you are familiar with the word maintenance, but do you know its distinction from servicing? Accordingly, maintenance and servicing are two different types of after-sales support, but they are related to each other. Primarily, maintenance is done in a scheduled basis, while servicing is done when the customer needs something to be specifically fixed outside of its regular maintenance schedule. The risk and control issues associated with maintenance and servicing are summed up to the following. First, failure to establish or implement a maintenance and servicing policy. Second, invalid customers might not be identified. Third, the stage of completion of services are not recorded and monitored. Fourth, resources are not enough to carry out the services. And lastly, costs and receivables are not accurately accounted. In the first control issue, the management might fail to establish or implement an authorized maintenance and servicing policy that sets out the terms, fees, and performance expectations. Accuracy is the control objective needed to manage the associated risk because it will ensure that a documented and established authorized product maintenance is in place to serve customers and discharge the organization's liabilities. The accuracy of the policy will help employees to carry out their responsibilities and meet the expectations of customers. The second one means that non-registered or invalid customers might receive maintenance and service. We all know that when a person is an invalid customer, he is not eligible to receive an after-sales support. Thus, to ascertain that all service requests are validated and designated as chargeable or non-chargeable, validity of each transaction must be observed. Validity will ensure that charges are collected with people not eligible for the after-sales support and valid customers will be properly serviced. The third risk suggests that there are no measures in place to ensure that all service calls are promptly assigned to the engineer and that they are tracked until completion is confirmed. The completeness of records ensures that all service requests are appropriately logged, recorded, assigned, and confirmed as finished. Completeness enables the management to assess the state of the maintenance and servicing and to properly evaluate the same. Moving on to number 4. There is a risk that trained personnel, materials, servicing equipment, and other resources may be in short supply to meet the obligations and workload. The segregation of duties and accuracy is needed to manage this risk because when employees are assigned, the management would see if there are sufficient personnel or not. This is also a guarantee that service personnel are properly trained and equipped to carry out their responsibilities. Moreover, accuracy must be utilized to check if inventory and other resources are available to offer a high quality and low cost service. Lastly, cost and receivables might not be accurately reflected in the maintenance and servicing accounts. Accuracy ensures that all expenditures related with providing maintenance and service facilities are identified, accounted for, authorized, and tracked. It could also be utilized to ensure that consumers are charged at the agreed upon amount for service work and to guarantee that debtor accounts for servicing operations are set up and maintained correctly. To ensure that outstanding debtor accounts are pursued and paid in a timely manner, accuracy of records must be maintained. In short, when income and expense records are accurate, risk from maintenance and servicing are reduced.
Lastly, the spare parts and supply as an after-sales support. Auditing spare parts and supplies of a company is important. Spare parts and supplies control have to be significant consideration. There is no single reason why companies need to have a great spare parts planning system in place, as the benefits provided range across many different aspects of operations. Simply put, spare parts auditing drives efficiency and creates savings for companies, whether they are regularly dealing with diverse, high-value assets, a range of smaller machines and systems, or a mix of both. Concerning the significance of spare parts and supplies, there is a need for auditing and controlling. It includes all functions from the external supplier to the point of use. As mentioned, spare parts and supplies are vital for many companies to achieve high service levels and support customer expectations, without unnecessary high inventory costs. Effective auditing of spare parts and supplies is also a critical contributor to a company's operating performance. Thus, ensuring different control objectives are likewise significant for a company as it ensures accurate, valid, appropriate, and compliance to standards. The risk and control issues associated with spare parts and supplies could be summarized in the following. The first risk refers to what measures will ensure that stocking levels of spare parts are accurately maintained. Adequate stocks ensure a sufficient amount of stocks for a company to achieve its objectives. Having enough stocks can help drastically improve the company's efficiency and productivity as it provides services to its customers. It can also eliminate manual processes which then lead to waste supplies. Additionally, it improves the accuracy of costs as it calculates exactly how many stocks a company needs to have on hand at any time to avoid understocking, overstocking, and obsolete holdings. Specifically, it can prevent product shortages and allow a company to keep just enough supply. The second risk talks about chargeable parts being validated, accounted, and recovered from customers. Pricing decisions can have very significant consequences for the company, as they become one of the elements of marketing. It can determine the acceptability of the product to the customers and the return and profitability of the product. Price is the most adjustable aspect of the marketing mix. The wrong price decision can bring about the downfall of a company. It is extremely significant to fix prices at the right level after sufficient market research and evaluation of factors like competitors' strategies, market conditions, cost of production, etc. Therefore, a company must ensure that they are giving the authorized prices applicable to chargeable spares. Lastly, the third risk pertains to identifying defects and persistent faults relating to supplies. A quality audit or supplier review is a systematic examination of factories' quality management systems. Many companies conduct a quality audit as part of the qualifying process before beginning working with a supplier. The information gathered in a quality audit can help limit the risk of a company working with a bad supplier, incapable or unwilling to meet your production standards. A supplier review can give you valuable information on a factory regarding personnel training, purchasing, inspection, labeling, etc. Also, a company's internal quality control procedures are critical for managing incoming and in-process quality control that are often out of their control. Overall, spare part and supplies management is very important as they are the responsibility of the organization. It provides the right parts in the exact quantity to the right place at the right time with the right level of quality and at the least total cost to the organization. If that utilized effectively, it will only become excess baggage rather than becoming a source of a revenue generator. To conclude, a marketing and sales audit is simply a periodic analysis of what is working and what is not. It is a discipline that requires digging into the marketing and sales process to look for opportunities, barriers, bottlenecks, and trends. We know from observations that initiating an audit and analysis with the discovery of root cause as its objective can spark sales breakthroughs and improve marketing and sales. Thus, considering different market influence is necessity. Furthermore, auditing marketing and sales remind a company of the initial goals and values needed to adapt. It also assesses what is worked and what has not. It provides new strategies and direction, and it uncovers inefficiencies that a company didn't know existed. That would be all for our presentation, and on behalf of Group 4, we thank you for listening.